Hello everyone and welcome back to Run It Up. I'm all in here. Okay, well, we're starting out minus $50. Weird hand here. This is literally the second hand I've been playing this guy. He raised, I re-raised. He re-raised, I called. Flop came 8-5 deuce with two hearts. I checked, he bet, I raised. All in, he called. He had king deuce offsuit. We're actually a favorite there with two overcards and two hearts and a heart draw, obviously. And didn't get that to happen though, so we're stuck $50 to get started here in the third hand of the match. Let's hopefully see if we can't heal it up, run it back, as it were. Kind of weird to see him 4-bet us there with king deuce, and then I guess just bet call it off, hoping we have flush draw or something that's not crushing him. But all right, interesting. Hello, how are you doing over there? I feel like it's been a little while since we've had one of these run-it-ups. I don't think we've actually played a heads-up session in a while, certainly not on YouTube. So hopefully we'll do some work here. So against the guy that we just saw 4-bet us with king deuce, it pretty much is going to make for, it's like the perfect opponent for me. I like playing guys like this. They're aggressive, I'm aggressive. It'll be fun. We'll see who wins. I think we're gonna 3-bet for value with a lot of hands like this, because we know now that he's 4-betting us with hands like king deuce sometimes, which is great news for us. Even if he never does that again the rest of the match, I'm still can be pretty confident in most of my value hands, taking them to a re-raise town pre-flop. So I'm going to start off this hand with a bet, raised pre-flop with 2 6s. Here we are now. Obviously not the best flop, but it's certainly okay. He decides to defend. So we have a decision here between betting and checking. I think that he never folds better. He does call with worse once in a while. He'll have a deuce or like ace high kind of thing. I think checking back though makes some amount of sense. I think he can very reasonably have 7s here. He doesn't usually have kings. I don't think we can get value out of deuces, so I guess we check back. I anticipate that we're going to lose this hand more often than we're going to win this hand, but we do win every once in a while. He has like ace 8, pocket 4s, something in that realm. So I've had a very weird last couple days. I was hoping to do a stream yesterday on Sunday, but it just never happened, probably because of the fact that since Thursday I've had 8 hours of sleep till yesterday, and then yesterday I slept 6 hours, so nice. I'm feeling better. I don't really know why. I have no real great reason for that. I don't know. I have no real explanation as to why I couldn't sleep, but I just haven't, so there we go. Gonna make for an interesting video. Recording this one at 5 in the morning. So, yeah, it's one of those videos. That's right. So we raised, he re-raised, and I called. Interesting flop that he from the check on. I almost never anticipate that he's going to check fold this flop. I think checking back makes a good amount of sense. We've turned a pair, which is pretty sweet. So I'm gonna for sure bet here. I would guess that he probably will not fold if he has a hand like ace-king, ace-queen, something like that. I would think would probably stick around. He just has nothing, I guess, and decides to just fold. I guess, what do we think about that he just check folds on a jack 6 deuce board? Because you would think that if he had ace-king or ace-queen, he's not going to fold when he turns a gut shot like that. So kind of interesting that he would play a hand that way and then decide just to give it up. But worth noting, I suppose. Defended here with ace-5. Going to start with a check. I guess if he bets, we're probably just going to fold. I guess he correctly checks back if he's got it. If he heard us, I guess that's correct. Okay, going to bet here ourselves. He decides to call. I would imagine that he's probably got a hand like a 7 or a 6. That kind of is the most likely story. He has a hand that's like, it's good, but it's not too good. And then he turns and he's like, I have a pair. I can't fold. Let's see if we're right about that. Yeah, it makes sense. He has right. I mean, it's a little bit weaker than I thought. I think if he had that hand, he would actually fold to a rare bet, whereas if he has like a 7, I don't think he folds there too often. But, okay, I think that's still relatively worth noting. I guess we could have bet on river there. We will bet there on sometimes, but I think that exact circumstance seems fine to check. Going to defend this one here, of course. Hand's too good to do anything besides call. Not the greatest flop for us, but we're just a 10 away from having 5 in a row, which would be pretty sweet. Let's see if we can't just drill it. Also, once in a while, I think he'll just check on turns, giving us a chance to win, which would also be pretty sweet. Let's see what happens here. Okay, looks like plan A did not come about. We do have a 10 if you add these together. Does that count? And he even bet $10. Wow, what a tease. How do you guys like this Alexander Gustafsson thing I've got going on here? That's right. I went back to the beard. Just I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it. My opinion changes on the beard very often, but we're back to beard status right now. Not in like the fake girlfriend kind of beard status, but fake beard, none, real beard, none, none of this fake beard stuff, of course. That would be sick if I was like, yeah, I've got myself a fake girlfriend. You know, I've decided I'm going back in the closet. It's been a fun ride though. Not the case, I'm afraid. So, two decisions here. Against the guy that we've seen re-raise us with hands like King Deuce, I probably slightly prefer calling with this for the time being. I think we could mix in re-raises, but if we know he's the type that's going to re-raise us for really no reason whatsoever, I think that I'm fine with just calling hands such as this one. Don't anticipate he has too many hands with queens in them that wouldn't just bet flop. You know, queen jack, king queen, you know, queen 8, queen 10, queen 9, queen 7. You know, a lot of these hands are just betting on flop. I probably could open that. That was a little bit of a tight fold there. I would think that he doesn't have too many queens on the turn there, so I think we have the best hand there more often than not. This hand's certainly in the re-raise pile. He's going to call us with worse. We have, you know, pretty strong hand all in all. Okay, that would be a good flop for us. We've added 3 diamonds to our collection. That's right. All the diamonds. They glitter so beautifully. I don't even know. Is that an impression of someone? Is that supposed to be some kind of a joke? I have no idea. It's 5 in the morning, though, you know? So, hey, if we're in English, I guess that's good enough. I just literally right before this video started, I was just watching the premiere of The Ultimate Fighter Sonnen vs. Vanderlei, and I feel like by the end of the season I'll be speaking fluent Portuguese. So that's good news to all the Brazilian fans out there. We'll be adding to my Brazilian vocabulary of vamos. I understand what they're saying. The guy has his amigos, and they were like, he was in a bad position, and Vanderlei or somebody was yelling, Progressivo, please, Progressivo yourself together a little bit there, man. Like, I get it. It makes sense to me. You know, I understand. We have some progressivoing to do here, I would say. I'm definitely not folding, given that we've seen this guy take this exact same line with King Deuce. Now, obviously, he could have it, you know, you can't say he's got King Deuce every time, but given that we know that at least some percentage of the time he can just have random nonsense, I'm definitely not folding King 10 here. He could quite possibly have Ace King, but you know, or something better than us as far as dominating hands. But there's just really nothing we can do with a hand this good. Heads up. Never mind against a guy that we've already seen play kind of weird in the past. So I'm going to bet towards the larger end of things. I think 9 is probably a good size. If he calls the 9, there'll be about pot-sized bet left on the river. I don't think there'll be too many hands that he's going to re-raise and then not bet and then play this way on the turn. You know, like, I don't think there are going to be too many hands he's going to not bet on flop and then fold on turn is what I meant to say. I don't think there are too many hands that are going to do that. And now I think we can get away with this. Ooh, did we run into it? Wow, kind of unlucky. I mean, obviously, like, we were dominated pre-flop, but pretty unlucky there all in all. Stuck a hundo. Wow. Running it down in this video here, but I don't think there's anything we can do, and I mean, obviously nothing we can do post-flop. Once we turn trips, there's literally nothing we can do. Interesting check back by him on the flop there. Not that it made a difference given our actual hand, but interesting that he decided to check that back there. But I actually really like that. I think that's a cool thing to mix in your game because people don't expect you to check back hands as good as that. But yeah, I think that's probably just a bit of a cooler for us there. Not running too good so far this video. 3 or 4, I think either seems fine. Have the best hand here. Some percentage of the time, he'll fold better than us every so often. All right, on the road to recovery. $1.50 at a time. Let's see what we can do here. This is a pretty swingy game for us, given our current bankroll, you know? I mean, we really should not be playing 25 cents, 50 cents. Never mind, heads up. This is like it's a little shot-takey, but I'm going to have to grind it up, I guess. Season 2 of Run It Up. We'll have to try from $50 again or something. I don't know. Hopefully not, though. Hopefully we just heal and repair. I feel like I actually kind of feel like we've been running kind of badly, but I don't think it's like I'm not just like, oh, we're running badly. I don't think that's necessarily entirely the case. We've been playing fine, but not like amazingly. I don't think. It calls us very quickly here. Well, on under pair flops like this, especially ones as connected as this, if he decided to go to town, we just would go to town with him. We've seen him be aggressive, and although I guess you guys haven't seen him be as aggressive as I have, but we would not be folding here, that's for sure. It's a deceptively safe turn card because he doesn't have Jack 10 too often. A, that would raise flop some percentage of the time, and then B, we have all the jacks, so not necessarily all the jacks, but we've got a lot of the jacks, that's for sure. So we have a decision between calling and shoving, and I actually think shoving is probably superior. We lose to like Queen 10, Queen Jack. Both of those hands would really suck if he had those, but we still have outs even if he does have those hands, and I think often enough he has worse 9s, 8s, stuff like that. Pocket 10s. The good news is he didn't snap call us, which would have been pretty sad for our hand, but all right. One for the good guys. Just one. Just one. That's all I wanted was just the one. All right, we're on our way. Wonder what he had that he decided to bet fold on the turn there. I wonder if he bet folded a pair or if he bet folded just like something he was floating. Gonna be defending this. Again, heads up, getting 2-1 in position. Don't think we can fold this. I think calling it certainly shows some amount of profit. Okay, so I believe that if he continues here, we're probably... I'm not 100% sure, to be honest. We have a 3 straight and a 3 flush, which are both pretty good things. Also, 2 pretty high cards. If we pair either one of those, I'll feel pretty good about it. You turn 9s and kings and 8s and jacks and 10s and diamonds. There are a lot of things we can just turn here, and we're deep enough that I think he'll check fold a good percentage of the time. Let's see if we're right about this. Certainly have to bet now that we've been checked too. He'll fold ace highs, he'll fold king highs, he'll fold small pairs. So I think we have to bet. It sucks if he shoves on us here because we're just folding a hand that does have some equity most likely, but all right, got it done. In the trenches there. When you're looking at spots like that, if that's a spot where you'd usually fold, well, most people would usually fold there. They have jack high. But I think when you think about it, you go, well, think about how many good turn cards there are for me, right? Any 8, 9, 10, jack, king, diamond. Those are all like turn cards that really help us. Those are a lot. Those are a lot of cards that we can turn that will help us there. So, that's when you think about it like that, given the chance that he might just have nothing pre-flop or that he might check fold the better hand on the turn anyway. And once in a while, he'll fold like a decent hand. Turn card is like a, 5 of diamonds. Maybe he'll fold a hand that's like really good, like by really good, I just mean like a pair. Like a pair. It's hard to make pairs. Never mind, like 3 of a kind. So, so this video this session hasn't gone great so far, but I think, the first, we lost a 60-40 with the ace-9 of hearts against his king deuce. That's not really anything we can do about that. And then the king 10, king jack hand is like, well, if you switch the cards around, we win the same amount of money as he does. He loses the same amount of money as we did. So in terms of I've always actually really kind of liked looking at interesting river here. I've always enjoyed kind of looking at not just poker hands, but like life situations in terms of well, if you switch around the exact circumstances, do we win more or lose less than our opponents? And I'm pretty sure we lose exactly the same amount as that guy does. 8 high, not the best end. That's why you check the river, boys. That's why you check the river, boys. Give him a chance to fire off there with the 5-8 of hearts. He's not calling with the 5-8 of hearts. You got to check. You got to check to the 8 high. So yeah, this session hasn't gone ideally so far, but I think there's really nothing we can do as far as session-wise goes. There's not really a lot we can do. He's still min-raising, and I think that's a mistake as we get deeper. It's a pretty typical mistake, but I think it's just not optimal. I don't know for sure. He could be a genius wizard, studied, and has a plan and a tactic and a strategy, so he might know what he's doing perfectly well. But in my opinion, I think making a min-raise here, making it a min-raise to go here is a mistake because you just are not playing as big of pots in position as I am. And as we get deeper, I think that's a thing that you'd want to be doing. And I think it's a pretty standardly accepted thing to do at the higher, in the more elite higher limit type of things. Gonna fold this one here. I haven't folded to a re-raise of his yet. I think folding to a couple of them is okay. We can encourage him to keep doing it because, you know, we're not folding to very many of them. So that's fine. Keep doing it. That's great. Same thing. Keep min raising. Go ahead. Please keep doing it. You know, all you can do is have the courage of your convictions and be like, yeah, I think I'm right about what I'm saying here. And hopefully you are. And if you're not, well, hopefully you run good. That's the door number B, as we've been through this before. All right, King 6 offsuit here in the big blind. Pretty poker heavy episode here so far. Well, that's fine. Poker heavy Mondays. That's fine. We had last week was kind of a weird video schedule. I think there was an hour-long video on Monday and then a 2-hour-long stream on Wednesday that I posted on Thursday. And on the busier weeks or the weeks that I have a lot more things going on, I'm going to do that where I'm going to just do like a mega session on one day, and that'll kind of just like count for the week, so to speak, or, you know, 2 or 3 days or whatever it is. You know, we do like a 9-hour session one day and that'll cover a week of videos. You know, I don't know, but probably never doing a 9-hour session, to be honest, but you never know. So I checked here on the turn, planning to check call, and now here we are on the river. I think we should start with a check. I don't think he ever calls us with worse at this point. I mean, it just doesn't make a lot of sense. He could have flushes. That's a possibility. He could also have eights, also a possibility. You know, we check raised and he called. I don't think he would... I don't know. This is an interesting spot, and I'm really not sure what to do here. I don't always play this hand this way. In fact, I probably don't play this hand this way very often. Our hand is kind of underrepresented pretty significantly here. I don't know. I don't love this, but I think we win this often enough that we'll be okay. I think he has enough of the gut shots, you know, like he had 5-7. I didn't say it, but I'm pretty sure he has enough of like the 5-6, 6-7, those types of hands. I actually would have discounted those slightly because you would think that when we check on the turn that they're going to want to bet some percentage of the time. But I guess he decided not to in that particular spot. Almost back to only stuck a buy-in. It's optimism. We're almost back to almost halfway stuck. Okay, that's something. You know, you shouldn't think like that. If you're a little poker neophyte, you know, you're a little you know. Do you guys like the set, by the way? Oh, wait, let's stay on topic, Jay Carver. If you're a little babby, you know, if you're a little neophyte child over there, you should not be so, you know, results-oriented or think about, oh, I'm halfway to unstuck or anything. It's really bad, and I do it because, you know, we're just talking, relaxing, hanging out, you know, just friends, just pals, playing some poker, hanging out, talking on YouTube. But in practice, in truth, like being completely free of those things is really the ideal. Not thinking, am I up, am I down, am I winning, am I losing? Those don't make a difference. What does that matter at all with what's going on? That matters in terms of like how your people will perceive you, right? It matters in terms of like how people will perceive you or you know, they might pressure you in different situations, stuff like that. But as far as your actual decisions go, for the most part, being completely oblivious to whether or not you're up or down or winning or losing, or you were having a fight with your girlfriend before the session started, or your car broke down on the way to the casino today, you know, whatever, all those situations, if you're really like an ideal, perfect poker mind, you should be free of those things, ideally speaking. So I bet here on the flop and then check back on the turn. I think against this guy, we want to check back with hands like this more often because we want to give him an opportunity to bluff. And he decided not to take us up on that opportunity in this particular session. I like 4 1/4 here. All right, for the fans. For the fans. All right. As you know, here comes the controversy. Here comes the post. Jay Carver. No, I woke up like 2 hours ago. Okay, stone sober. Don't worry, kids. And we're getting punished for our bet size here. I don't think we can fold this hand. He doesn't have too many hands with diamonds in them. He does have a lot of jacks, but it's possible this guy could be bluffing. This guy does actually potentially bluff here, and we do have 3 of a kind. It's hard to have a better 3 of a kind than what we have. Yeah. Kind of a weird hand to bluff turn into a bluff. I wonder if that's... Yeah, I don't know what to make of that, because you wouldn't think that we're going to call him with too many hands worse than a queen there. I mean, we might. I could definitely talk myself into it. I've talked myself into calling with way lighter on video, I'll point out. But, yeah, I think that I would have probably ended up just calling if I were him, but... Also, we do represent jacks pretty credibly. You know, we just bet flop, check back turn, and then here we are on the river. I think that it's an interesting decision, and the fact that he can do that is why we have to call there, in my opinion. We have seen him do things like that often enough that I think we have to stick there. So I'm going to actually re-raise a little bit bigger than I've been re-raising because now we are still pretty deep here. Don't anticipate that he's folding too often. Didn't let me down. Very close to the old three of a kind, but not quite there. I actually think I'm going to... Okay, let's check call. I think this is actually a spot where we can have a lot of conversation about what's better. Is it better to check call or to bet fold here? And I think that check folding is probably out of the question, but I think we can either check call or check fold. One of the biggest disadvantages to check calling, in my opinion, is that our hand kind of looks marginally weak, and it is marginally weak. And that's never good to play our hand, you know, in the same kind of hand strength as it is. But I think if we bet, we're going to get pressure here, being weird situations, stuff like that pretty often. Like, I would anticipate that he will read us as having a hand like two jacks in this spot, which is close enough to what we have. Can't fold, though, especially because we turned a gut shot. If we had turned like a king, we would have just check folded, I think. Okay, let's see what he does here on the river. I'm inclining towards folding, but depends on what he bets. You know, he won't bet a 9 here, right? So he has to have a queen or better for us to lose. So he has to have a queen or better, I think, to be comfortable here. But if he does have a queen or better, he can be very comfortable with given the way we've played our hand. You know what? I think this is going to be a fold. I was leaning towards folding. I think this is a fold. I think he'll have a queen or better in this spot. You know, we have caught him bluffing several times before, but I just don't think that he's going to be bluffing there. We haven't seen him be super aggressive with his draws in the past, so if he has a hand like Jack 10, it's not a guarantee that he's going to bet the turn. But if he has like a set or a two pair, he's almost for sure going to bet the turn. So I think that fold makes sense on the river, and I think my line makes sense generally speaking. If we had started with a bet and he had just called, then who knows how the hand would have went off. If we bet, he called, the turn is a 5, we probably check, he bets, we call, and then the river is a 4, we check. We probably lose the same amount, assuming that he, you know, didn't like bluff us because we checked flop or anything like that. $150, please. Huh, is that a little too big? Maybe a little. Yeah. So yeah, that's a kind of an interesting hand. What else could we have done with that 8's hand? We could have called pre-flop, but that doesn't seem too great. You know, we have 2 8s. He min-raised. We're gonna call. That seems bad. And then flop. Could we have arguably check folded? I think if you're like a newer player, check folding is more reasonable there. But I think that, you know, you have pocket 8s against a guy who you know is kind of sticky, and we have a decent enough read on the guy. I think folding would be a slight mistake. He seems like a pretty reasonable opponent. I actually kind of like the spots he's picked to attack us, and I think that he's played pretty well so far, all in all. This is a little bit of a loose continuation bet, especially against a guy who we've seen be kind of on the stickier side, but okay. You deserve these $2, sir. I hand them to you. There you go. They're like the electric, you know. Yeah. The nipple tasers. That's what they are, I think, scientifically speaking, right? Gonna just lend defend here with the old ace and 4. Start with the check. Yeah, you gotta check. Hey, how do you guys like? I've changed it up a little bit here on the Run It Up Set Studios. I've, not a lot, but a little bit. We've refreshed some things, moved some stuff around. I relocated some things around for the moment. Not sure if I'm going to stick with things like this. I might move things around a little bit more. We will have to see. Decided to check raise here on the flop as kind of a bit of a bluff, although if he folds, we probably had the best hand. So we just got him to fold whatever it is that he had that had some amount of equity against us. I think it works often enough to show a profit, and it actually goes check on turn pretty often. I think if we spike an ace, we're almost for sure have the best hand. If we spike a 4, then we might have the best hand sometimes. Don't think we win this hand, though. Yeah, 2 5s. So I actually think he'll fold hands like that sometimes, which is great. It was the first time we've ever check raised the flop, besides the time we got it in pre-flop with the ace nine of hearts. So I think that it's a pretty credible spot for us to try to bluff, try to see how it goes. Maybe he folds the check raises all the time. How do we know if we don't try? Am I right, people? You're right. Thank you. Thank you. Nah, come on in. Come on in. Although I don't mind playing heads up, obviously. I have no problem playing three-handed either, and I think I'm fine with building up the game. Not going to fold. We're getting such a great price, obviously, and we're so deep. This is exactly the kind of spot that we're totally fine to see a flop in. Interesting one here for us. Certainly not going to fold here. We're going to start with a check. I would anticipate that he'll check back here with some percentage of his hands, and he does. I'm going to bet here now. I think there's a chance he'll fold a hand like ace-king if he has like just some random nonsense that he was re-raising with pre-flop. Like if he has a king-deuce class of a hand, although ace-high could be the best hand against that. And we could check call here, but one of the things that I'm more afraid of by check calling is that he'll do something like bluff with a hand that like fours or something that would have folded if we just bet. I think we can check here, and we lose to ace-king, ace-queen, ace, well, we lose to pairs, obviously. We lose to ace-king, we lose to ace-jack. We beat some hands, but I think most of the hands that we... This is kind of an interesting bet by him on the river here. Actually, this is a really interesting spot to consider shoving, but I don't think we're going to do that here. I don't think we're going to do anything besides fold. I'm just kind of making sure that they're not missing out on anything. It's kind of a weird bet for him to make because, you know, you don't anticipate that he's going to have too many hands that check back flop, call turn, bet river. Like, what do you have? 2 jacks, 2 kings. We did see him have king jack in that one spot and check back on the flop, so it's possible that he had a hand as good as like a 10, maybe, that he checked back flop and then now by the river feels like is the best hand. So I guess that's possible. Do I like our turn bet? Let's talk about the turn bet. We bet 9 to like 15 on the turn there. I think that it's okay, right? Let's talk about why we think that that could be not okay. Given that we've seen, he has a very interesting check back frequency on the flop, right? We've seen him check back in a variety of spots. He checked back with the king jack on the king 9-5 board as like pre-flop 4 better, right? We've seen him check back on the... There was the board, the jack 6 deuce board that he checked. This is how you can tell I'm not high. He checked on the jack 6 deuce board that he just folded to us on the turn when we bet. He's had an interesting set of hands seems to have that he checks with. And that being the case makes me more inclined to want to bet there. But, I mean, if he's never folding, obviously I don't really have any desire to bet because we really need him to be folding there a pretty good percentage of the time for us to be okay with a bet there. You understand what that means? Does that make sense? Yeah. That sounded a little more aggressive. You understand what that means? I was just saying, like, if he's never folding on the turn, then we should not be betting on the turn because we need him to be folding on the turn for us to have that bet be profitable. Good turn card for us here. I think $4 looks about right to me. Have it kind of look like it's on the small side, like we don't want him to fold, and we do have an ace. Looks like he's decided not to believe us. We actually have the best hand here. Some percentage of the time he has 4-5, 3-5, or diamonds, something like that. I don't think he's folding if he has a king or an ace at this point. I think we can check back. If we had like 4 high, I'd be more inclined to consider bluffing, but I don't think he's planning on folding a hand as good as a king in that spot, and I think he has those hands pretty often. I think we squeeze out most of the nonsense. That's right. I love it. It's a great squeeze. You gotta tell it. That's a great squeeze. Come on. I think that we're gonna squeeze out a lot of like the bottom two pair combinations, whatever those two cards were, the sixes and deuces. I think we're gonna squeeze most of those out there with our turn bet, like a little python, right? That's right. That's good what the show is going to become in the future. We're going to forget about running it up. We're going to be squeeze it up. Not re-raising people. I'm just going to sit here and just, I'll get a rag, I guess, or something. And we'll just, do our thing with, that's it. That's what we're going to do. That's the future of Run It Up, ladies and gentlemen. Subscribe now. Subscribe now while it lasts, until we're just busto and we're squeezing things for money. Ah, good times here at 5:15 in the morning. You know, that's what we do here. We're stuck $90. We don't even have $90, do we? I guess we have $90, barely. We have $90 less than we had when we started this video. But we lost the 60-40 for $100. That would have been nice to win. And then we lost the King Jack versus King 10 hand, which kind of sucks. And then we clawed our way back to down almost a buy-in. Actually, we were down even less than a buy-in at one point. And then we had a sequence of hands. The 8's hand lost us some there. And I think there was a couple other ones. But basically, my idea for the thing that I'm going to try in the next few weeks, we'll do a little bit of a lean back. All right, a little bit of a lean back. But the thing that I want to experiment more with in the next few weeks is, or this week particularly, let's do one week at a time. But the thing I want to experiment with is to do these longer sessions for less videos, longer sessions, because I think it allows for more creative poker, more interesting poker. We can analyze, like, this is about the time where I'd usually wrap up a video, and I don't really know if I'm planning to play for a long session in this video, but this is the time now where we start to have like reads on this guy. We start to like determine a little bit about like what we think he's doing, and we start to develop tactics and strategy. And that's where I believe, as a live professional poker player, because us live pros, we're field players. We don't know anything about this. These damn maths and these young kids. Good night. Good night. GG. So yeah, I think that's where it gets more interesting when we start playing guys that for longer sessions, and we can really kind of build that out. So my plan is to stream live on Twitch with no hole cards, give away some cool things, interact with you guys, answer some questions, and then play for a while, load up whatever. We start with cash, play tournaments, play sit and goes, do whatever, and then take that video with hole cards and post it on YouTube later. So I'm probably not going to play for like a super long time against Spew Artist here, just because I don't want to start a whole nother heads up session here, and this is a pretty good point for a one day video, not like right this minute, but eventually, relatively soon from now. So yeah, that's my plan. Let me know what you guys think about that if you haven't already. I think it'll be fun, and I also think that it's good for my schedule generally to do like, okay, it's Monday, I'm going to play for 9 hours today. Like, I think that not only does that sound better to me than doing like 2 hours of videos for 5 days a week, but it also cuts down my production time. It cuts down my like editing time. It just is better. I think also it's more fun for you guys, and I really do enjoy streaming. I think that's probably it's different. Like, my moods will always kind of. I think if we move away from having a schedule, though, I think that's just going to be good for everything. Like, this hand is pretty good, and it is Spew Artist, who we know is pretty aggressive, and his name says it all, doesn't it? So I think we can re-raise here and just get it in. Hopefully he doesn't have ace-king or aces or kings or queens, I suppose. But I think this hand is good enough that we can re-raise, not fold. I think we have the image of being kind of tight, and also that we can, gotta defend our button raises sometimes. But I think that the best part of moving away, for me at least, of like a 5 day a week perma schedule is that I think we'll find more creativity, more projects that are just like, hey, let's try this random cool project. And I think there'll be probably not necessarily like every week more videos, but I think they'll be like, hey, I'm feeling good today, let's play poker for 6 hours. Whereas on a 5 day a week schedule, it's kind of like, well, I have 8 hours free today. Even if I would stream, I'm like, well, I have 5 hours off, I should do something else. This kind of sucks. So, So, if he has 8-9, this kind of blows. I mean, like, I don't think there's a lot we can do here. I think we have to fold with this price. I mean, it really sucks, but I think that we have to fold this hand. I mean, I could have bet a little bit less, I guess, saved us like $1. I could have bet 5, something like that. But like, you have to imagine that he has pocket pairs. He shoves pretty fast. He has to have pocket pairs, 7s, or like 8-9, something like that, which we would be making a mistake against 8-9. Against pocket pairs, we have 6 outs pretty much, right? Against pairs, we have 6 outs. So we have about like 25% equity with pocket pairs, or against pairs, generally speaking, which we're not getting a price against that. Against 8-9, we're a favorite, but not enormous. making a mistake mathematically, but not a huge one. And he almost never has like queen jack, right? That's kind of, not never, but pretty rarely. So I think the price is just barely bad enough. Kind of similar to having ace king, except for ace king we beat all of the no pairs, whereas if he just has like ace jack here, we're like, oh my god. Or just like put us in the cage and don't ever let us out. Never. No parole. No parole cage status here. Not folding. Don't think we're going to check raise either, which leaves us only one option. Glad to see the video is recording. Gonna start here with a check. Clearly not folding as we've made it to 4 heart status. Actually, we have way more than 4. We have like 25 hearts and the jack of hearts, technically speaking. 23 hearts. Math is hard. Not gonna check raise here. Okay. I think this is a pretty good spot to bet. He's going to have pairs some percentage of the time. We're going to want to bluff, with our diamonds and 8-9 once in a while, stuff like that. All right. Kind of very weird he didn't bet this turn here, but, we would have lost a very similar amount. We would have check call turn and probably went check on river, so it doesn't make a huge difference to me. I think the reason that it's a mistake to bet, it's not a huge mistake, I don't think, but I think that hand, given that he has a straight draw to go with it as like a backup in case we lose our minds, like I think that hand is okay to be bet called on the turn there. But, whatever. I don't think that's like a massive mistake or anything. Just slightly surprised to see that he had a jack in that spot, that especially one that was that good. But all right. A little bit too thin there. Value cutting ourselves a little bit. A little bit. I've actually got made fun of for that a lot in the course of my life. I don't know why, but a little bit. I don't know who I got that from or who started saying that, or, I don't know any of these answers. Could re-raise, fold, could also call. Obviously, I'm not folding king 10 on the button. What am I supposed to do? I, can't possibly fathom doing anything else. I mean, I guess re-raising would be fine as well, but I just didn't really feel like re-raising here. Kind of a tough board to fight back on because it's paired. I think he just wins. I don't think we have to win this hand very often pre-flop. Given that we have position, I think we win this hand often enough, even though it kind of sucks. And I'm folding there sometimes, but I also think we're folding there all the time. Probably play for another orbit or so. See if we can't try to run it a little bit up so it's not as bad. Run it not so bad. That's it. Run it not so bad. That's going to be the name of the video for today. It's not really. But, I guess you guys already know that. I'm like spoiling it for myself. Oh, what is going on here? Remember the old days when cat avatars would just lose? Put everybody in the cage. We would just win all the time. Man, those were the good old days. These days, just can't do it. I think we gotta figure out ways to start repairing things. I think that's my suggestion, is longer sessions. Marathon sessions. Play that 10 cent, 25 cents. That's right. Get in there, Jay Carver, in those coal mines. In other relatively exciting news, and by relatively exciting, I mean like a 3 on a 1 to 10 scale, even in my life. I'm saying for you guys, I give him a chance to bluff here. Surely we win with our, wow, saved ourselves $1 and change. I was like, oh, we win for sure. Nope, we did not win for sure. He had a flush on every street. Well, I shot on Friday. I shot like 4 new videos. Most of them for Ultimate Poker, but some pretty sweet stuff actually. Some stuff I had never done before. I shot a breakdown for this upcoming UFC fight on Saturday. I shot a preview for UFC 171, which is this Saturday. Hendricks versus Lawler. That was pretty awesome. So I did that on Friday. I shot a video. I shot a commentary track. I shot a lot of things on Friday. So there'll be some cool videos coming out this week from Ultimate Poker's channel. I'll definitely link on Facebook and Twitter and such. Could have the best hand. I'm gonna just fold here. I think this hand is like it's like the very best hand that I think I fold. It's so draw heavy. He's still behind us. He's gonna bet kings and tens and such. So So yeah, so some really cool stuff coming this week. I don't know what my plans are for videos, but I think I'm happy to do that. We did a YouTube video today, even though we lost $100. But hey, whatever. I've had a great week in every other thing, and just damn run it up. Can't run it up. I'm just, I just want to run it up a little bit. I just want to get back to 4 figures. The kid just wants $1,000 in his Ultimate Poker account. Is that so much to ask? Come on. All right, let's do a wrap up. All right, so we did not run it up today, unfortunately, but I think we had some really interesting spots, and I feel like we talked about a lot of it in a pretty in-depth format. If you enjoyed today's video, I know we didn't win the video, so you don't have to like the video if you don't want to. Whatever, I understand. But, actually, if you're made it this far, you're exactly who I want to talk to. So, I've been thinking about working on some things, working on runitup.com, working on some different ways we can kind of interact and do some cool things together. But one of the things that I thought that I always found to be very helpful when I was starting out in poker, and a thing that I used very often, was a IRC channel for poker. There was a community that I was a big part of on Something Awful, and there was a poker channel, and there was at one point at its peak, it had 100 people that would post hands, talk hands, share information, and it was all like a very awesome, cool, relaxed kind of environment that was, mostly friendly, mostly positive, and usually hilarious. So I'm not necessarily sure that will be it's like a experimental concept in my mind, but I'm thinking about doing a Run It Up channel on SynIRC, SYNIRC. So I'm going to put instructions in the description below on how to join IRC and hang out in there. And I'm already in there, so you could be next and come hang out. There's 2 of us right now. So if you've enjoyed the Twitch chats or anything like that, I'm going to create this permanent IRC chat room on IRC, #runitup. That's right. So if you want to come hang out in there, you can come hang out with us in that room. We'll post hands. It'll kind of be like my Facebook, only on IRC. So if it interests you, come hang out. If not, you can message me on Twitter, Facebook, facebook.com/JagarPoker, twitter.com/JasonSomerville. And if you haven't already subscribed, please do so. I do these videos all the dang time for your enjoyment. That's right. I'm like a mime, only not at all like a mime. Okay, I think we've had enough of me for today. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you back for more very soon. Peace.